So the question I'm going to go with is inspired by Rana Hussain, her episode.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, think of a moment when you went out of your way to make someone feel like they belonged. How did that experience impact you? When I was in grade 6, so in 1992, it was my last day of primary school and we were sitting in a circle on the ground. Everyone had to pick a question out of this hat. And the question I drew out of the hat was, who in this room is most likely to represent Australia in an Olympic sport? And there was a boy in our class called Michael Baird. And Michael was a boy with Down syndrome, and he's a boy who loved his sport so much. And so I went with Michael and I said, I truly believe Michael will be the most likely person here to represent Australia in Olympic sport. I'm going to be an Olympic swimmer. And I remember the look on his face. It was one of the biggest smiles I've ever seen. And he gave me a very big hug. It was a really beautiful moment. And I tell this story because in October of last year, my phone rang. It was Mum, and she was calling to say that Michael had actually died. The second part of that question is what the impact it's had on you. Because of that moment that we had, like that one moment on the last day of grade 6, he just pops into my mind a lot. I have sort of found myself thinking about Michael a lot, wondering how he's going, and always thinking I need to reconnect. I really need to reconnect with Michael. I'd love to see him. I'd love to see how he's going. And I just never got around to it. Yet I thought about him so often and kept thinking I really need to do it. And I think when you make an effort to make people feel like they belong, it is very connecting. And I say that being fully aware that we never actually saw each other again after that moment. But I knew deep down I needed to go to his funeral. And the funeral came to a conclusion, and then people were going into the next room for like afternoon tea. And his sister said, I was cleaning out his room the other day and I found a photo of you in his bedside table. And she said, he always spoke about my friend Hugh. To this day, he still spoke about my friend Hugh. It was the most moving afternoon. There was a lot of tears in the car on the way home, a lot of regret about not reconnecting with Michael, and just the most beautiful person you'd ever want to meet. And I feel so sad that I never reconnected with him. But hearing the stories at the funeral, he had many, many, many wonderful connections with so many people in his life. So, that's what I wrote about Michael for that answer. Can I add one nice little thing at the end? I was right. Michael did go on and represent Australia as a swimmer. So
Did he?
I was
Really?
correct. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
Multiple times. Yeah.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.